Investing in commercial property is not solely the domain of the wealthy. There are a number of ways in which the mum and dad investor can gain exposure to this asset class. I'm here to discuss this issue further with Scott Newton, CEO of Knight Frank Tasmania. Thanks for joining me, Scott.
You're welcome, Charles.
So Scott, apart from getting exposure through the listed property trust, what other options does a mum and dad investor have?
Well, the small investor can invest directly if they're confident in doing so. If not, alternatively, they can join forces with like-minded friends or family members and syndicate larger acquisitions.
So what is property syndication?
Property syndication is a group of like-minded investors who are pooling their expertise and their equity to collectively invest in a single asset.
What are the main sectors within the commercial property market?
The traditional sectors are commercial, or often also known as the office sector, retail and industrial. Retail yields are traditionally lower than office yields, which are also lower than industrial yields, which are traditionally a higher risk investment.
So each of the sectors would perform differently in different market conditions, is that how it works?
Yes, certainly they do, and that's obviously reflected by the yield and the prices that investors are willing to pay for those assets.
As a property investor, what are some of the issues that an investor should be aware of?
Investors have got to be extremely mindful of the lease covenant, the strength of the tenant, their ability to continue to trade successfully from that premises, and also alternative use. What does happen if the tenant chooses to vacate? How easy is it to re-let that premises? Also important for the investors, Charles, to have a look at the lease structure as to who's responsible for the outgoings, and also clearly look at the building fabric in terms of ongoing maintenance obligations.
What are the most common mistakes investors make?
I think investors certainly can become complacent with tenants and not work closely with their tenant, particularly during difficult times.
Is commercial property more complex and risky than residential property?
Commercial property is more risky, and that's reflected in the yield being generally higher than residential returns, and largely as a result of the increased management risk and tenant risk that does attach to a commercial investment, and investors need to be very conscious of that.
What advice would you give to any prospective purchaser of commercial property?
Importantly, one needs to do their research and seek independent advice from a valuer or from someone that's well qualified to provide that advice.
Thank you for your time, Scott. It's been a fascinating insight into how commercial property works. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.